Well, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our admissions webinar about gaining admission to the Jindal School of Management here at the University of Texas at Dallas. I'm Dr. Monica Powell. I'm the Senior Associate Dean, and I'm thrilled to have so many folks here who are thinking about and considering making an application to one of our many graduate degree programs. I hope you enjoyed that montage of pictures that came just before me, get a real sense of what it feels like to be here at the University of Texas at Dallas. And I hope that we can entice you to complete your application and apply by getting all the critical answers you need to the application process, scholarships, and if you're an international student, those answers as well. So let me introduce the crew that's with us here for the admissions webinar today. We've got Corina Cantua. She's the Director of Advising Operations. Corina and her wonderful team of advisors help students with everything from enrollment to degree planning to graduation and making sure you fulfilled all the course requirements. And then we also have Josephine Vitta. Her and her magical team of individuals from the International Students and Scholars Office really do a great job of helping our international students manage the nuances of gaining admission as an international student. We have a fabulous agenda, and of course you guys are the stars of our show. We want to make sure that the priority is answering your questions. But let's look at the agenda. We're going to cover application questions because sometimes there are complexities and students need clarification about certain aspects. We're going to address the all-important scholarship questions that students have. We realize that financing and education is really important, and you want to be sure to understand all of the deadlines and the rules around applying for scholarships. We are going to address program questions. Every program is unique at the graduate level here. We want to make sure that you understand those answers. And then, of course, international student applicants. There are a lot of important considerations for you, and so we want to make sure that Josephine and her team, that would include Elizabeth and Sarah, who might join us in answering some of those questions so that you know exactly what you're doing. But again, we don't want you to leave without your questions being answered, and we'll make sure to address those at the very end of the presentation. So without further ado, I think it's time that I turn over the reins to Corina to address the all-important application questions. Corina?
Thank you, Dr. Powell. I'm happy to be here to help answer some of our most popular application-related questions. I am actually ready to go. Norma, do we have the first question?
Yes, the first question is, what is the application deadline and what is the difference between the early and regular application deadline?
Sure thing. So the application deadlines are actually shown on the screen. What you see are what we call the regular application deadlines. So for the spring semester, the application deadline every spring is October 1st of the previous year. And then for the fall semester, the deadline is actually May 1st. So those are the deadlines that you have to meet so that your application is not late. I do want to say that we encourage students to apply before those deadlines, especially when there's a lot of steps or paperwork that you have to do after you're admitted to make sure that you can arrive on campus and start taking your classes. So don't see these as the deadlines you want to target. There is an early application deadline, for example, for a fall term, that would be January 15th. You could sometimes see that maybe as your target deadline to give yourself plenty of time after that to prepare to arrive and start taking your classes at UTD. But I do want to mention, and this is very important, it does not mean that if you miss that early application deadline that you cannot apply. All right. If the January 15th deadline, comes and goes, you can still submit an application for a fall term, and we would definitely encourage you to do that. So please don't be discouraged if the early application deadline has passed. You can still apply for that corresponding semester.
Our next question is, do you offer GMAT GRE waivers, and how do you apply for a GMAT GRE waiver?
Yes, so during the pandemic, because of the limitations and the access to the tests, the committee was considering GMAT GRE waivers. At this time, if you're interested in a GMAT GRE waiver, you will be able to find the details on our JSOM application website, or you can also send us an email to jsomgradvising@utdallas.edu, and we will be happy to provide you the information, more details about how that would work.
Do I need to submit official transcripts and test scores with my admissions application?
So no, the review committee will be able to make a decision on your file using unofficial copies of your transcripts, mark sheets, degree certs, and unofficial test scores. When you submit your application, we encourage you to upload those unofficial copies along with the application so that your application is ready for review a lot faster than doing it separately. One important thing to note on this, though, and I believe Dr. Powell will probably touch on this, is that if you are interested in a scholarship, you will be required to submit official test scores. Okay, so for review, unofficial is okay, but if you're considering a scholarship, we will need official test scores for GMAT GRE.
Do you offer a waiver for the English proficiency requirement?
Yes, so on the screen, you will see that the required minimum scores for the various English proficiency exams are accepted by the university. That's on the right-hand side of what you see, but it's important to see that there are exceptions to the requirement. And on the main UTD admissions page, you're going to be able to see those two main waivers. The first one is being if you're native to a country whose primary language is English. That includes Australia, Belize, India, Kenya, South Africa. You can find the complete list of countries on that link on the admissions page. So that's the first way to waive. The second waiver is if you have completed a bachelor's or a master's degree through instruction and examination in English. If that then you would qualify for an English waiver.
Can I apply to more than one program?
Yes, absolutely. If you're interested in pursuing two programs, there is a benefit of working on both programs at the same time due to the potential reduction of total credit hours required. There may be some courses that overlap, so that would reduce the total number of credit hours you need for both programs. If you're interested in the master's program and an MBA, so an MS and an MBA, you will actually find an application specific to that double MS MBA, so it'll be just one application for that. If you're interested in two master's programs, so an MS and an MS, there's not a single application for that, but don't worry, the application system actually makes it very easy to actually submit an application for both programs. Once you submit the application for the first one and you type in all the details for that application, when you start the second one, it will automatically populate any information that is the same. So you don't have to redo that part. There may be some questions that are new that you would have to fill in, but for the most part, everything will already be there for you. And the same thing will be true about your unofficial documents, what you upload, like your transcript, mark sheets, that's the same, that won't change. And we would be able to use it for both applications. So that makes things easier, even if you are submitting two separate applications.
How long does it take to receive an admission decision after applying?
So the normal processing time is about 4 weeks. However, we will do everything we can to cut that time in half. We know that you want an answer as quickly as possible, so we're going to work very hard to make that happen for you. I do want to mention, though, that your application cannot move forward unless it's complete. So you have to make sure that you get us those supporting documents with your file for us to be able to move it forward to the review committee. If you don't, then we're going to be waiting on those documents, and that's going to add time to the review process.
What is the profile of the average admitted student?
So the answer to this question will actually depend on the program, but there's a very easy way to find out. Whenever you go to our School of Management program information, the same place where you'll find the curriculum, career outcomes, you're also going to find this class profile, so a breakdown of the class profile, just like the snapshots that are here on the screen. They're very nice, easy to read summaries, and they will probably include the information that you're looking for.
Thank you so much, Corina. Now we'll go to Dr. Powell for some questions about scholarship.
Thanks again, Corina. Those were terrific answers to those very popular application questions. So Norma, I guess we ought to attack the next category, which are questions around scholarships. What's that first question about scholarships?
Our first question is, what types of scholarships are available as a new student and as a continuing student?
So that is a terrific question, and I realize that funding your graduate degree is a really important consideration for really all applicants. So if you're interested in applying as a new incoming student, you can apply for the Dean's Excellence Scholarship for new incoming students. And all of those scholarships that we award come with a tuition waiver. And students should apply for that scholarship. It is a separate application that you complete, and you should do that after you have been admitted to your degree program. We have 2 times a year when we award new student scholarships. We award them for the incoming spring semester, and then we award them for the incoming fall semester. So those students have 2 opportunities. Now, one of the things that's really important is this screen that's actually up there, the picture that Norma has for you. And so please be mindful of the program that you have been admitted to. There are some programs that are not eligible to apply for the Dean's Excellence Award, and those are the ones that are listed below, because all of those degree programs have their own scholarship process, and they are different depending upon which program you have been admitted to. So keep in mind that if you've been admitted in a semester and you've applied for the scholarship in a semester and you've been awarded a scholarship for a particular incoming semester, you can defer your enrollment, but you cannot defer your scholarship award. So I just want to make sure that people understand that. That's because you're competing against all of those individuals that are applying for a particular incoming semester, which is why you can't defer a scholarship award. You can defer an admission, but you cannot defer a scholarship award. So I hope that answered that question, Norma. What's the next one?
The next question is, what is the deadline to apply for scholarship?
So for these new incoming Dean's Excellence, there's an acronym for Dean's Excellence Scholarship. It's called DES. You may hear us refer to a DES award. There are 2 different deadlines. If you are applying for spring admission, then you apply by December the 1st. If you're applying for fall admission, then you apply by May the 1st. It is really important that students understand that you must submit an official GMAT or GRE score. It must have been electronically sent to the university and sent by those 2 deadline days, so it's in the system for the scholarship committee to review an applicant. We will not look at an applicant unless an official test score is in the system. So don't wait until the last minute. It's horrible if your score comes in on May the 3rd and the scholarship committee already addressed the awardees before then. The other thing I just want to point out for students, applicants, is that the scholarship committee looks at applicants on a rolling basis. We look at the amount of money we have to spend, and we award periodically throughout. So it is to your advantage to apply to a program early, to get admitted to a program early, to have submitted your official GMAT and GRE score early, because, you know, as every school out there, you know, it's not an endless bucket of money. So we're going to award to the most competitive applicants first. If you apply early and you don't hear anything for a long time, it probably may be the result of not being quite as competitive as other students in the pile. And we do have a limited number of awards that we can give every year, but we have a lot of scholarship money to give away, and that's one of the things we really pride ourselves on, is being able to help our incoming graduate students.
Next is, am I eligible to apply for scholarship if my GMAT GRE was waived?
So this is a really good question. You could be considered for admission on a waiver of a score because your overall application had some strong qualities about it. Maybe you blew out the top of your undergraduate education, or you've got other things that are within your profile that make you highly competitive and eligible for a waiver of a GMAT GRE. That's kind of an individual case-by-case basis. But for scholarships, it isn't an option. If you want to compete for a scholarship, you must submit an official GMAT or GRE score, and you must do it electronically, and you must do it by the deadline. That means you go out to the Graduate Management Admissions Council test website and have the score sent to us electronically for GMAT, or you go out to ETS's portal and request that it be sent to us electronically as well.
Next question, what does the scholarship committee look for when awarding scholarship?
Such a great question. You know, the process is very similar to what we do on the application side. We review candidates holistically, meaning we look at everything that a student has submitted in order to make that decision as to whether or not a student gets a DES or Dean's Excellence Scholarship Award. It is tedious and it is hard, and our scholarship committee is really thorough in looking at all the applicants. We take this very, very seriously in the scholarship committee, just as we do in the admissions committee.
When will I find out if I was awarded a scholarship?
So Norma, I'm really glad that you asked this question, because it is a rolling process, which means that we start looking at applicants as soon as we kind of have applicants to look at. And of course, we're looking for the most competitive candidates. So we start awarding early in the process, and we award throughout the process until we run out of funds to award. So again, you want to be as competitive as you can. So you should look at the degree program profiles, get a sense of how you are competitive to that profile, and then be very patient as the scholarship committee works through those candidates.
Am I eligible for in-state tuition if awarded scholarship?
So as an incoming new student, all of the DES awards give a tuition waiver scholarship. Now, obviously, that does not apply to somebody who's in state, but if you are out of state, out of country, and you're awarded the Dean's Excellence, you are given a tuition waiver, but only for 2 consecutive semesters, not for an entire academic year. So if you come in the fall, then you're getting it for fall and spring. If you're coming in the spring, you're getting it for spring and summer. So it's basically 2 semesters in a row. And man, that looks really good to the bottom line in terms of the amount of money it saves you. You're given a $1,000 award that is applied to your first semester, and then the tuition waiver is applied to those 2 consecutive semesters.
Now we have some questions about programs. How many credit hours does the program take to complete?
So if you're doing the MS program, it is 36 credit hours. Generally speaking, that is 18 hours of core courses and 18 credit hours of elective classes. Now, keep in mind that many of our master's programs have tracks or concentrations. So that means that that you're able to sort of specialize your degree plan based upon the career outcome that you want. So the example on the screen is a good one. It's for business analytics. You see there are 9 tracks that are available. So if you know that you want to go into a data science role, you may want to take those elective hours within the data science track. You're not required to have a concentration or a track, but I would strongly encourage you to do that, because I think it makes you more easily identifiable to an employer that you are bringing a certain skill set to the table. So you want to really get in and look at your program pages, go and look at the tracks or concentrations that you have open as an option, and really think about what you want to do. You may even want to go out to something like Indeed.com. Look at some job descriptions for somebody who's in a financial analytics role. See if that's the kind of work you want to do. You want to do your legwork up front. You don't want to wait until you've completed 18 core hours and then say, oh, what do I want to do with regard to my track or my concentration? You want to have an idea of that ahead of time, because in some degree programs, you can start to take electives right off the bat. And you want to have those electives under your belt, because those will help you be attractive to more employers for internships as well. So look at the ITM, Information Technology Management degree program. It has a lot of tracks. Look at business analytics, look at supply chain, look at management science, look at finance. They all have options for you to tailor your degree. And the more you know about where you want to go, the quicker you can determine the concentration and track, and the better you can kind of plan out your degree program. That's a great question, Norma. Thanks for asking that one.
What is the estimated cost for the entire program?
So this is a very complicated question, but I am going to do my very best to answer this and to direct you to where you can get even more detailed information about it. So on the university's website, there is a cost estimator where you can put in, your status, whether you're graduate or undergraduate, when you're coming. You can put in the number of hours you're planning to take, and it will estimate for you what your tuition is going to cost. And it's going to estimate, in my opinion, on the high side, what your living expenses are going to be. Everybody lives differently. Some people want to live alone in an apartment for one, and that's more expensive than living with 4 other people in an apartment with 5. So you have to understand that some of those are estimates that are just generated by the algorithm associated with a calculator. Now, the other thing that is really important for you to think about and remember is the more credit hours you take in a semester, the lesser the cost is per credit hour. Now, that doesn't mean you want to come in and take 18 credit hours in your first semester and 18 credit hours in your second semester, because 9 credit hours is a full-time load for a graduate student. So that's biting off a lot to just save the overall cost per tuition credit hour. But do keep in mind the university also has these tuition tables where you can go in, follow the links, you can look at the tuition table, and you can see, okay, if I take 13 credit hours this fall, what is that going to cost versus 9 credit hours in the fall, or 10? Now remember, this is really important. As an incoming master's student, you are likely going to be taking 10 credit hours, because in your first semester, you are also required to take professional development, which is a 1 credit hour course. So you're going to be enrolling in 10 credit hours in that first semester. So go in and fill out the cost of attendance questionnaire, use the calculator, and get an estimate in terms of what that's going to cost. Now, the university, makes these estimates, and that's going to be important when you're kind of going through the I-20 process in terms of cost, because when you eventually go to do a visa appointment, you're going to have to prove that you have the funds to be able to study abroad. And Josephine and her team will be talking about that a little bit later in this presentation. But that's a great complicated question, Norma.
Who should I contact if I have questions about the degree curriculum or career outlook for the program I am interested in?
Wow, we are a big school, my friends. We have just under 4,000 graduate students and just over 4,000 undergraduate students. So this is a big, busy, exciting, and fun place to be. And we have a multitude of people that are available to you to help you with all kinds of questions. If you want to know more about your degree program, I am trying to choose between doing management science with a concentration in finance, or doing an MS in finance, or I'm trying to decide between doing the analytics masters or the concentration in analytics in the information technology management program. Those are great questions, and it's important that you understand the differences in not only the degree program in terms of what it requires and the types of courses you will take, but really understanding what kind of career and job that prepares you for. So if you have questions about the degree program, what's the difference between this course and that course? What is the difference between this track versus that track? How do I compare these two degree programs to each other? What kind of job is that going to prepare me for? That is a question for your program director. And all of the program directors here have academic support coordinators that help support the program, and or program managers. Those are terrific people that you can ask those kinds of questions to. You can ask them about electives. You can ask them about how to get a mentor. You can ask them about how do they get engaged if they're in X degree program versus Y. So they are unbelievably resourceful in helping our students. The other great thing is, while we're talking generally about admissions in this particular webinar, all of our degree program directors hold webinars on a very frequent basis so that you can talk directly to them. And they also engage and involve current students, so you can kind of talk to a current student about the experience that they're having here. How are they learning to network? How are they utilizing career services? So I would strongly encourage you to identify that by going to the program's website. You'll be able to see when their information sessions are. and you'll be able to figure out how you can get more detailed program information. Now, if you want to talk about the mechanics, you want to talk to the advising office, because they are the people that help you with course registration, with problems around adding and dropping classes, to understanding a degree plan. Did I meet the requirements for graduation? Have I fulfilled the core GPA and overall GPA requirements? Because if you come to the Jindal School, in order to graduate, you have to have obtained an overall GPA of 3.0 and a core GPA of your core classes of a 3.0 or higher. So they're really terrific about helping with course registration and all of those issues around the mechanics of getting enrolled and graduated from programs. But you can always send questions that you have to that office through our JSOM GR advising email address. You can always send questions you have to jindal@utdallas.edu to get questions answered to your that you might have about registration or degree programs.
What type of career support does JSOM offer?
I tell you, we just put students in a bungee cord from the day that they get here, and we shoot them straight into their futures, and we make sure that they are really prepared with everything that they need around professional development. We do not want our students going out and being ill prepared to apply for a job or to talk to an employer or to interview or any of that. So we require all of our incoming master's students to do a professional development class, which is 1 credit hour. We go over everything from resumes to elevator pitches to LinkedIn profiles to how to ace the interviews, to how to network, how to negotiate your salary. We make sure that you are ready and fully prepared. And we do that through that particular course you're required to take. But we also have huge other resources that are available in the Career Management Center. One thing that you'll find here at the Jindal School is that we are so full of acronyms. JSOM means Jindal School of Management. CMC means Career Management Center. So you're going to want to get used to all the different acronyms that are used here in our school. But we have an endless supply of resources. We have coaches that are available in the Career Management Center for you to walk in and get help. You've got your degree program directors. There are advisory boards that advise different degree programs. There are mentoring programs inside of each of our programs. There are opportunities for mock interviewing. You will not run out of ways to access resources, including 70+ student organizations that are here in the Jindal School, where most of their activities are around engaging with employers. So you have lots of opportunities to practice networking and small talk. You could do it 24 hours a day, but of course our students do need to sleep occasionally. But there's lots of resources, Norma.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Those were all of our program questions. So now we'll toss it over to Josephine so we can answer some questions from some of our international students.
Thank you, Dr. Powell, for giving me the opportunity to speak with you all today. I so enjoy having the opportunity to interact with you all and to be able to answer any questions that you may have so that you understand the immigration components to be able to transition to life at UT Dallas. As Dr. Powell said, I'm Josephine Vitta, and the entire International Student Services Office stands with me to assist you. So please, let's go ahead and get started with the first question.
The first question is, how do I contact ISSO?
Okay, this is great, and you're going to be contacting us throughout your journey, throughout your time at UT Dallas. The first thing I want to let you know is that we have multiple avenues for you to contact us, and you can find the most efficient way. Live chat is what a lot of students tell us is the fastest, best way for them to get a question. There is a widget on our website, and our URL is on the bottom. And when it's advising time, you'll see the widget and you can log in and speak with an advisor. It is not a chat bot. It is real live advisors who can read, understand your question and be able to assist you with to get the information that you need. If the information you need is more complicated, you can also schedule an appointment. Appointments are going to be 20 minutes in length and you can schedule them. Again, the link is going to be found on our website for you to go in and schedule a time that's available and that's works for you, to schedule time to speak with an advisor. So make sure you have all of your questions ready so that you can get through everything and leave your appointment with all of your questions answered. A third way to be able to get a response or get answers from an advisor is to submit an Ask an Advisor e-form on iComment. Ask an Advisor form is just a form that you submit through iComment. You can type in your question, it goes to the advisor, they can look at your question and your specific academic record and be able to give you a very complete answer in response to your question. So those are the three main ways that admitted and prospective students are going to interact with our office. As I said before, the information or the links to access advising services may be found on our advising website, and the URL is right at the bottom of your screen. All right, we can go to the next question.
What is the iComment portal?
The portal is a way for you to access advising services and for us to be able to keep track of any queries or questions that you may have so that we can give you complete services in terms of advising. So after you are admitted as a UT Dallas student, you'll have all of your credentials as a student ID and your email, your net ID. You'll go into iComment and the URL is right there on the bottom. And you're going to use the credentials, the same one that you would use for all of accessing any of UT Dallas digital services to log into iComment. iComment portal has all the e-forms that you're going to need to apply for your I-20, to submit a question through Ask an Advisor, or do a number of services while you're still a prospective student outside the United States, as well as after you arrive in the US.
Once I'm admitted, how do I apply for my I-20?
Great. So the important thing to keep in mind is once you're admitted, you're going to get within 24 hours, you're going to get an email advising you on the steps that you need to take in order to apply for your I-20. But if you forget or you are coming to it later, please know that all that information is outlined on our website. Okay. The main eligibility factors is 1, to be admitted. Congratulations. The second thing is to have a passport. Now, there are very few of you who may not have a passport because of the way your country may have rules that you're not going to get a passport until after you have an I-20. Don't let that be a barrier. We are familiar with some of those countries that have those policies, but the vast majority of you, you're going to want to have a passport that's valid, so long as it's got at least 6 months validity in the future. And if it's a baby picture and you look super cute, that's fine too. The next thing you're going to need to have is sufficient funding to support yourself for 1 academic year. Your program is going to last longer than that, but what you're going to need for the I-20 as well as for the visa interview is to be able to show that you have liquid funds to support your studies. If you have received the scholarship, the Dean's Excellence Scholarship, or any other support from the university, that can be used to establish that you have sufficient funds to support yourself in the United States.
Our next set of questions have to do with visas. So I'll go ahead and just kind of go over them, and then you can talk about these various questions. How do I prepare for a visa appointment? What are the common mistakes that international students might make when they apply for their I-20 or when they have their visa appointment? And what do they do if their visa is denied?
Yeah, this is a very pivotal moment, and I know that it can seem very scary, but we're here to help you get over this. And it's just a hurdle. It's not something that's going to stop you on your educational journey. The main things you want to do for a visa appointment are, first, have your documents ready, and second, be able to express yourself and communicate successfully with your visa officer. So in regards to your visa appointment documentation, there are many things that are common to all of the embassies. They're going to want your I-20. They're going to want to see that you have your admission letter. They're going to want to see your passport. They're going to want to see your any documentation related to your specific program. All of those things are going to be listed on the website of the specific embassy that you are going to be applying for your visa. Many of them are similar to one another. Some countries may have some additional differences, so just make sure you check on that information on their website. The second part of it is being ready to communicate effectively with the visa officer why you chose UT Dallas, why you chose this specific program. They want to know that you are a bona fide, legitimate student who's interested in pursuing this degree. So be prepared to talk about the degree, the things that you're excited about learning, how you're going to apply that information in your future endeavors in your career. Right? So those are the two things you want to do. It's don't script it out. You want to be absolutely natural, but those are the two things you really need to prepare in order to have a successful visa interview. Now, I'm going to, for the second question, I'm going to answer the second part about the visa appointment, and then I'm going to go back to the I-20. So in terms of places where a visa appointment might become tricky, there are two main areas. One is if you are not able to communicate to them that you have the intention to complete your degree and return to your home country after you finish your studies. F1 student status is a temporary immigration category for the specific purpose. So if you go in and you say, I really want to study this, and then I'm going to get an H-1B, and then I'm going to become a permanent resident, and then a US citizen, and it's going to be great. That is going to be the opposite of what they want you to say, because all of those other steps are going to be more permanent immigrant intent. As an F1, you want to be consistent that your plans are to complete your studies and how your degree is going to help you get a job in your home country, start a business in your home country, or a third country. Okay, so that's number one, that you don't have the intent to permanently immigrate to the United States is something that you're going to need to watch out so that you don't misrepresent to them what you're trying to do. The second thing is similar to what I mentioned earlier, is not being able to successfully communicate what it is about this program that really interests you. So all that research that Dr. Powell told you to do, speaking with the program directors and understanding, you know, what you're really going to gain out of it is going to pay off here, because students who cannot communicate that effectively are going to have a hard time overcoming any questions that the visa officer may bring up. So those are two things that often cause the most problems. Not being able to show that you're going to be able to go back home, and not be able to clearly explain what the program of study is. In regard to your I-20, there's one mistake and one tricky part, right? So in terms of applying for your I-20, there are very few things that we're looking for. We want your passport, and we need to be able to see it clearly. So whatever you upload needs to be something that's legible. And number two is the proof of financial support for the one academic year. And then there's a financial affidavit. Simple things that can be a mistake that cause delays is not including all the documents, not having the documents legible, not having them in English, not having signed the form. Those are simple things that you can edit quickly, but they can delay your I-20 process. The thing that can take that can be a little bit harder to overcome is just making sure that your financial documents show a complete picture of your ability to support yourself in the United States. And we have we really want to make sure that we review those things, and they're going to be sufficient for you to not only get the I-20, but be able to satisfy the visa officer when you're going for your visa interview. So then the third question is, what do I do if my visa is denied? Well, a lot of people are very scared about this, but the important thing to remember is this is very rare. I think the most we have ever seen is going to be, you know, 5 or less in a semester. Right, and this is out of over 2,000 students, and that was a very high semester. There are very few students have visa denials. Okay, so follow the steps that we just let you know to prepare yourself successfully for the visa process. However, if you do get a denial letter, you should be on the lookout for the documentation they provide you. They should give you a letter that outlines the reason for your visa denial, and that will help us figure out how to help you. We have special advisors, and actually it's usually going to be Elizabeth Walker, Associate Director, who can meet with you, go through what you did in the visa process, and help you become better prepared in order to apply for a visa interview. It is very rare that there's any restrictions on your ability to apply again. So many times you can, find the next slot that is convenient for you to apply for the visa after you've had a chance to correct whatever the issue is, and then you can apply again. Most times students are going to be successful that second time that they apply.
Am I eligible for on-campus jobs as an international student?
So even though you have the financial resources to support yourself, you are absolutely eligible, and it is okay for you to get an on-campus job. And actually, we recommend it for a variety of reasons. So on-campus employment is something that you can do after you arrive in the United States if you are coming from abroad, or if you're a transfer student from another U.S. college or university. You can do that after you have your UT Dallas I-20 and you have arrived on campus. You just need to be in F1 status, which you will be once you arrive. You need to have your I-20, so you still need to be a student after you graduate. You can't work on campus as an on-campus student employee. And you need to make sure you're maintaining F1 status by being enrolled full-time in your fall and spring semesters. That's going to be 9 credit hours for our graduate students. It's very simple. There's not a very high bar, right, in terms of immigration. Once you're here in F1 status, you are eligible for on-campus employment. So reach out to the Career Center, reach out to all of the offices and see what type of employment experience you'd like to have while you're on campus.
Thank you so much, Josephine, for answering all those questions. It was great information. Now we will go back to Dr. Powell so that we can take some additional questions that we've received during this webinar.
Wow, Norma, Corina, Josephine, myself, we answered a lot of questions, but we are all aware that there's always many more questions that students have that are unique to them. And we encourage you to take this time to put those questions into the chat. And we're going to try and answer as many of those as we possibly can. For those of you that have already submitted questions through chat, make a note of what's on your screen. You can always email your program director to get answers, but in lieu of anything else, you can email jindal@utdallas.edu, and we answer all types of questions. We also have a live chat, and I love what Josephine said earlier. It's not a bot. We are not a bot either. We actually answer these questions live, and we call that our JSOM question desk. And you can do that through the link that you see on the screen. And the question desk people are answering questions all day long. It seems like there's never a shortage of questions around admissions and around all types of questions that might be important to you as you're a student here at the Jindal School. So I am betting, Norma, you got a boatload of questions that we now need to answer as a team. And I'm going to call out to my colleagues when they can help us to answer those questions too.
So we have received quite a few questions. Our first one has to do with our work experience requirement and our requirement for letters of recommendation. They're wondering if that could possibly be waived.
Wow, so that's a great question. So one of the things you'll notice from all of us that are chatting with you is that we have these wonderful backgrounds behind us that showcase the university or the school or some aspect of it. Now I've turned off my background so you can actually see that I'm sitting here in my office here in the Jindal School and really eager to meet all of our prospective students. So that's a really good question, and it is a complicated answer. So there are ways to waive certain aspects of our application. You can go on our website and you can learn about the process for waiving the GMAT or GRE. You can waive, instead of being required 3 letters of recommendation, if you have work experience, you only have to submit 1. So I would encourage you, and maybe Corina, you can put into the chat the link to the MS application page where they can actually read, you know, ways to waive certain aspects of the application. And Corina, you may also want to jump in and also add to that question as well.
Sure. Yes. So, excuse me, I can definitely do both things. I'll put it into the chat so that you can go to the page that has the information on that. But just to, I guess, address the 2 things that have changed in the recent weeks was the work experience requirement. But, you know, as Dr. Powell said, don't worry if you do have internship experience or if you have strong academic record, you can be waived from that work experience requirement. And then as it pertains to the letters of recommendation, if you have less than 2 years of work experience, you are required to submit 3 letters of recommendation. If you have more than 2 years, then you only have to submit 1 letter of recommendation. So either way, you should be okay. It's just depending on where you fall on what you have to submit. So I will get to putting that on the chat so that you can see it as well.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm going to ask, I think Josephine had to step away, so I'm going to ask Elizabeth Walker to come to the screen, because one of the common questions that I see here is, when are we eligible for CPT?
Hi, that is a great question. Yes, Josephine had to step away for a minute. So in general, most students are eligible for CPT after they have entered the United States in F1 status and completed 2 long semesters as a full-time student. However, we have a couple of degree programs where students will be eligible for CPT after completing 18 credit hours. Those would be the MS in Business Analytics, MS in Information Technology and Management, MS in Management Science, MS in Marketing, and MS in Supply Chain Management.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and bring Dr. Powell back onto the screen. When it comes to summer internships, are students able to get course credit for their internships?
Oh, that's a great question, Norma. So if you are enrolled in an internship and you are an international student, you are required to be enrolled in an actual internship class. If you're in one of our 5 degree programs that requires the internship, so that's things like business analytics, information technology management, management science, marketing, supply chain, those all require an internship to complete the degree. So the first internship you take, you enroll in a 0 credit class. That means you don't pay tuition. You're enrolled in 0 credit. But if you do a second or third internship, then you will enroll in a 1 credit hour internship. So that would be a tuition driving event for you. It's really cool because most of the students that are in these programs, they will do multiple internships before they graduate. You can go to this great place on our website. It's called Internship Stories. The students that are enrolled in those internship classes, be it 0 or for credit, they are required to submit an internship story. And you can go to this website, and I'm sure Norma's already after it and putting it into the chat, where you can just see, where all of our students are. I mean, thousands of students that are having great internships, at Amazon or at Google or at Microsoft or at Qualcomm or Tesla or, wherever they may be. And they'll tell you about the experience that they've had in these narratives, about who they met, alums they connected with, courses that were really helpful. And of course, the real value of internships is that you have the opportunity to make your way into an OPT offer and potentially an H-1B offer. So we really pride ourselves. Being a really big school the way we are, we have hundreds of employers that engage with us through the Career Management Center, what we call the CMC, and also our 70+ student organizations are really all devoted to introducing students to alums that work in companies, to employers who want to come and chat with our students, to employers that host competitions, hackathons, all these kinds of great events where students get to network with employers and with alumni. So there are lots and lots of opportunities. If you're in a degree master's that does not require the internship, you can still take internships and they can still count toward your degree. Generally 3 credit hours of internship or the equivalent of 1 elective class. So I went a little bit further, Norma, but I got all riled up and excited.
We've had some people ask about estimating their tuition or estimating their costs. So I did share the link to our financial planning webinar, but I thought maybe you might want to mention kind of what we discussed in that webinar so that they could go and take a look.
Wow, let me tell you, if you're going to invest any amount of time and you are an international applicant, the best hour you can invest is going and watching this webinar. In this webinar, one of our colleagues, Gaurav Shekhar, who happens to be the program director for the MS in Business Analytics, he goes over how to think about funding your degree, because of course that's overwhelming to think about, how am I going to pay for this? And he goes through a bunch of different scenarios about what the tuition looks like if you get a scholarship and you're converted to an in-state tuition waiver. If you get a campus job, if you get internships, if you get the loan. And it is way worth your time to watch that. It'll be the best hour that you've ever invested. So go out and follow that link and watch that webinar. I think we've had over 2,000 people watch that webinar since we did it, early in the spring. You can also go to the tuition estimator. And Norma may be able to find that and put that link into the chat as well, where you can go in and you can designate, I'm going to the School of Management, I'm an international student, I'm going to take this many hours, I'm going to live on or off campus, and it'll give you a really good estimate. Now remember, if you are a Dean's Excellence Scholarship winner, then you will be paying an in-state tuition rate as opposed to an out-of-state tuition rate. So that will reduce your expenses significantly. So watch that webinar. Really, truly best hour investment that you can make.
Our next question is, this particular person was admitted to the MS Information Technology and Management program, but as they're looking at classes and the degree, the business analytics electives and program speaks to them a little bit more. Is it possible to change their program prior to their first semester, or what would that process be?
It's really interesting. This question is getting to be one of our more popular asked questions lately. If you've already been admitted, and you already have an I-20, what you should do is just come and start that program. And then what you can do is get considered to do a program change form at the end of your first semester. So let's just take that example. Johnny was admitted into the ITM program, but he now thinks he might be a better fit for the business analytics program. You can take courses that would count toward either of those degrees in your first semester. And then what you can also do is send an email to that new program director. So if you're in ITM and you think you want to go business analytics, you can send an email to gaurav.shekhar@utdallas.edu, and Norma will put that in there. And you can say, Gaurav, would you look at that and see if I'm going to be admissible to the analytics program after I arrive? I would not change your application because you'd have to reapply at this point, pay another application fee. You can wait and do that after you get here. Just get confirmation from the program that you would be admissible to that degree. And then you can take the courses for that degree right off the bat in your first semester.
We have a couple attendees who have applied for scholarship, and they are wondering when they might receive a update or response to the scholarship application.
So great question. So the scholarship committee is reviewing applications about every 10 days. And as we stated earlier in the webinar, we award the most competitive applicants first. We will make another couple of rounds of awards between now and May 1, which is the deadline. And all of those individuals who don't receive the scholarship will be notified just after that May 1 deadline, if not earlier. We award hundreds of these scholarships, so we have quite a large and very competitive pool. So if you've been in that pool a long time and you have not been awarded, it is very likely that you are not competitive. So I'll throw that out there, but we're still getting some highly competitive applicants at this point, and we want to award as many of those as we possibly can.
We've had a couple of students ask about our career fairs. Do we have employers coming on campus? How is our recruiting looking for this coming year?
So that's a really great question. So the old-fashioned way that students got connected to employers was with these really big, employer showcase, career fair events. And yes, we still have those. We have them every semester. But here in the Jindal School, we do it in a much more intimate way. Our Career Management Center engages with employers and provides about 150 employer events each semester. That means that they're bringing in a set of employers and they have an event where students can actually interact with them. Many of our degree programs hold miniature career fairs just for analytics or just for ITM or just for supply chain. And then don't forget, we have a superpower here at the Jindal School. It's called our student organizations. You can go anywhere in the United States and you will not find a graduate business school that has 70 plus student organizations where every mission is devoted to connecting a student to an employer or to an alum who works for an employer. So we have lots of case competitions. We have lots of employer forums. We have lots of these opportunities where students can engage with employers. In fact, we have something that we do here in the school once a month. It's called Chat with the Graduate Dean. That's me. And we did one last month, and one of our students reached out to us and said, oh my gosh, you know, a while back you had one of these Chat with the Graduate Deans and you introduced us to this great student, and I connected with her, and then she helped me get an internship. We've got all of that going on all at once. So don't think that a career fair is the only way to get an internship or a job. You know, we teach students in our professional development class how to network, how to find a job American style. And that means getting involved day one and not getting so focused on your classes that you don't start building your profile and your network from the beginning. And you do that by joining student organizations and going to all these great events that our assistant dean for the career management operation puts together every semester.
Perfect. It looks like that's all the time we have for questions. I do want to encourage our attendees to please feel free to reach out to us at jindal@utdallas.edu. And I want to make sure you have some time for some closing remarks.
Well, thank you, Norma. You know, we are always delighted when students take advantage of talking to us live in these webinars. And it's not possible if we didn't have Norma behind the scenes making the magic happen. But we're delighted that both Josephine and Elizabeth from the ISSO could be here. That's another acronym for International Students and Scholars Office. And of course, Corina Cantua, who is our Director of Advising Operation, who manages getting a whole group of advisors to help get students enrolled in classes and ready to graduate and get admitted and all of those kinds of things. So it takes a real team to put on one of these webinars. But I want all of you that are with us today to really follow the advice we gave very early in the webinar. You know, we're interested in your individual success, your individual journeys to improve the quality of your life and to launch your career. And that means engaging with us. Get out on our website and look at our degree programs. Every bit of information that you could possibly want is on the program degree website. You can connect with students on there that'll talk directly to you about the experience. You have the direct connection to program directors where you can say, here's my profile. Am I a competitive applicant? You have ways to read hundreds of student testimonials. You can get linked right to the curriculum where you can see that in the ITM program, we have like 7 tracks. In the MBA program, we have, you know, 9 different concentrations. In the business analytics program, you can do it flex or you can do a cohort. We have a multitude of information that is on our website. But if you can't find the information there, or you struggle with finding the information there, we have lots of ways for you to get answers to those questions. jindal@utdallas.edu, that email address that Norma mentioned, which is also on your screen, pop us an email. We are more than glad to answer your individual questions. That's one of the great special aspects of, I think, UT Dallas and the Jindal School in particular. We really enjoy our students, and it is a pleasure to work with each and every one of them. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you to my colleagues for helping get all these questions answered. If we didn't get to your question still matters. Just pop us an email and we'll be glad to get that question answered today. So thanks for joining us, everyone. We hope you have a great weekend ahead.